I'm glad he's found a fit because he's had teams where he's not performed very well, teams where he's been the best performer on it, and I think he's found a fit where he's really fitting in well, and then same as you said with Corey. So overall, this team, once they adapted to not being so dependent on French, they've just really expanded and pulled in a lot of great players, which is ironic to see them LFO.
Yes. Hire them, please. Let's go through our ban phase here as Border and Consulate have been removed. These two maps were played in the previous week by these two teams, so we don't get to go with them. Banquet Villa removed. Clubhouse, Cafe, and Coastline will be our map, which is perfect because we're just coming back from Valencia.
Funny to see LFO not want to go to Cafe, though. They definitely have a good Cafe, but I guess they just don't want to play it against Navi, which I think, if I remember correctly, Navi have a pretty good Cafe as well.
Yes,
but Coastline Navi have not shown, at least during Pro League, whereas LFO did play it once, and they won, I believe it was 7-2 versus Vitality.
You know what also makes sense? This is the second level of the why you would ban one map and not the other. You're playing Coastline, LFO plays G2 next week. So they can just have a free ban on Coastline as well.
There's definitely teams that factor that into the strategy of
100%. So what do you guys think? Well, it's not 100%. It's 61% for LFO, 31% for Navi. I think it fits pretty well so far.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good fit for both these teams.
I mean, maybe you can look at Navi having a bit of a higher percentage, but Navi still have to prove themselves on bigger stages.
Yeah.
So they're performing well, but you need to really bump it up to get really
LFO have been showing, though, and that's the thing is, like, you could bump Navi's a little bit higher, but in doing so, you'd be taking away from LFO, which I think deserve the 61%.
There's a reason why they're considered, well, they are the best team in Europe right now, and they're playing so well. This is, of course, in the online stage. We'll head into the game now on Coastline, but even DreamHack Valencia, I mean, now 2 minors in a row, LFO are in the grand final.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn impressive, considering that these are 2 tournaments they've had right after their playtime in Milan, where they got knocked out on the quarters in dismal fashion. Corey comes in, everybody melds very well together, and here they are 2 events later at the top. Pretty darn good for them. Lion will be their first removed operator. Not really surprising given the fact that Lion has been abused by a few teams here and there, but yeah, it's Coastline, right?
Buck being taken off next is interesting. That definitely, a lot of times, is going to be... There's quite a bit of vertical play on most of the bomb sites, and so that's going to rely then a lot more on things like Sledge or Zofia, things like that. But Mira getting banned, no surprise there. However, it definitely should lead to a little bit more variety in how the vertical play happens because of the lack of the Buck.
It makes a lot of sense. Rise is actually a pretty insane Buck.
Yeah.
One of the best in Europe, that's for sure.
Let's ban Mozzie then.
Aces, a family show.
There we go.
They are!
All right.
Wow.
No joking. That's a rare ban. I mean, he is a new operator that has actually been seeing a lot of play.
Yes.
Yeah, just not a lot of bans. I think a lot of people looking to abuse them on both sides. It's one of those ones where it's like, you know he's powerful, you know you don't necessarily want to deal with him, but you also want to use him. So it just doesn't often get banned for that reason.
I mean, there was a time where you didn't really have any of that in play. So
Hookah kind of becoming the primary for many teams these days. Citizen sneaking over to the Jackal, try and help deny some of that roam. But it's not actually going to be the Clash. It's going to be the Echo getting played here. And for those of you who weren't paying attention, Echo's drone at the moment is pretty difficult to see. So Doki going to be very important in trying to find that. Because the last thing you want is Yokai's just hanging around, very difficult to detect. And if Doki dies, that offers a lot more freedom to Alpha Element to rotate those Yokais around and use them for pings. And that's the thing is, you don't necessarily need to always use it for stuns and things like that, or even plant denial. You really can use it to help support your roamers to an extent, get a lot of ping going on, or even just above sight. Especially on a bomb site like this, where you don't necessarily need to see through smoke. It certainly helps to do so, but you know where they're going. You know where they're going to be planting on default. Most of the time, you can get some idea. If they're running into the smoke right there, you don't need to see their exact positioning, because you know where it's going to be. And so I like that he's got the one in Aqua there to be able to help see that, right, to get some intel from behind, because you only need one for plant denial, because chances are they're not going to find it if Doki's not left alive by that point. So, I don't know. I like the ability to split up the two Echoes. And Echo is arguably very strong right now. Citizen, over here. There we go.
This is so smart. Navi have really learned their lesson from DreamHack and watching so much of LFO. Alfama is an insane Echo player, and what he usually does is literally be an active drone or aces on defense. So removing one of those yokai drones means that now the potential roam play between Corey and aces is going to be very limited.
Alfama needs to be a little more careful at the beginning of the round like that.
Exactly. You're really going to be, you have to be more careful, but also now you kind of have to stick closer to the site, and you have to be very careful because there's a Thatcher
as well.
Yep, there's everything in play really here. So it's a lot of pressure for LFO, and yeah, it's only one yokai drone, but it actually has more of an effect than you might imagine.
Well, we saw where the other one was placed in the in Aqua, unless that was rotated down there through a hatch or anything. But
it was dropped by a hatch.
Okay, so then it was the same one.
Yep. That's the one that was lost. I'm sure the second one is still in the back pocket or used on somewhere close to the site.
Corey being his very aggressive self here could be that first pick if he's not careful. Yeah, he gets a lot of opening kills, but now he's the opening death. I mean, had he landed a kill on Dodoki, as I said, that would have been a pretty impactful kill. But losing the Jaeger early on is not a huge loss, but Corey being a heavy fragger, definitely still not great. And there we go, the second yokai down. That is not good at all. Hicks as well. Picked and went up onto the IQ just in time to not really matter as much.
A good job here, which... Of course, the Echo has already lost his two yokais, so you're going to hear the MP5 just rattling away every now and then. Kendra will open up an extra hole here, deny anybody playing in the back of the small bar, and he'll drop on down and go in to support his teammates on the entry. Hicks looking on all the way down into Aqua. There's nobody spotted through there, and you can hear the Habana rattling away. Alfama is taking a lot of damage early on. Gonna need to have him alive. Oh, Hicks at the wrong moment turns around and un-ADS's.
He's getting pressured hard right now, and there's no one even on tarps.
42 seconds left, and Nello is... Oh, he finds the kill? Whoa. Did he just shoot his foot, or where was it shot? Nello. It's a pretty good shot there. He turns around. Aces must be flashed out. Saves with second flash coming up. Alfama will have to go and deny the diffuser from being planted. Nello will try to get it down. Saves will find Alfama, but Aces onto saves on the refrag. Hicks one more onto Kendra. It's a 2v2, but low on HP. Here's the Maestro, and Smoke is blocking off his POV. Aces going all the way around here. That's the perfect thing that you want to do here. Just make sure that you have control of the outside of the map. Nello low on HP, but lost in the gunfight, leaving Hicks all on his own. Low HP as well on the Maestro. He'll have to fight against both Citizen and Nello. Citizen is right around the corner. An easy kill. And that's the end of the round for Na'Vi. In control of it. LFO tried to fight back. But in the end, it was not enough. The teamwork was not present throughout the entirety of the round.
No, it was weak. A lot of 1v1s happening there, and a lot of them lost by LFO, unfortunately. They just weren't able to win a lot of those, especially that opening one against Corey. That was, he's trying to buy his team time, and he just ends up dying so quickly. They lose both the yokai drones early. Yes, they get the IQ, but at that point, too little, too late, and that's really just not a good starting round there for LFO. Just a little sloppy. And Na'Vi looking a little bit more on top of it. It looked like a pretty fluid attack for the most part. They had a plan. They pretty much stuck to it. They managed to get some picks. Some aggression there that came out from the Maestro did help a little bit. Hicks, despite being kind of cornered, really fought back. But unfortunately, at the end, he was against two because of the loss of the mute that just couldn't make it happen. So, I mean, it was a good attempt by LFO, but just too many early losses, too many things not going right at the beginning of the round, eventually snowballing towards the end, and Na'Vi just playing it smooth. We'll see how they do on Bar, though. So there's the next site, and maybe they could play a little bit better. They could have played Hookah again, but...
I guess the big problem with the last round was Alfama losing his yokais for free.
Yeah, that does not help at all, especially when then you're losing visibility into a lot of areas, and then you're having to peek a little bit blind and losing a lot of those fights anyways.
You didn't know a plant was even happening at that point in time, so...
I mean, there was, I would imagine, an Evil Eye somewhere, but we didn't necessarily get to see what happened to it. So that might have not really been a factor as well. I mean, there was enough players dead that could have been watching it, though, at the very least. But hey, if they had yokais and the Evil Eyes for Corey to be watching, his early death could have at least paid off in providing a lot of extra intel for his team. But he's going to be on the roam again. It's pretty much what he does, and he does it pretty well, trying to kind of channel a little bit of that joystick sort of Jaeger roam. Citizen, though, going to be on this Jackal again. I gotta imagine look to hunt Corey down at some point here if he can, but see if Alfama can do a better job supporting this time. However, Doki gonna be looking for that yokai.
It's already spotted here, but Doki will not go for it just yet. Alpha will get off the yokai, as both you can tell have been deployed and not in his back pocket. Hicks will take control of the Cool Vibes blue stairs for now. But usually got to be very careful as to somebody just shooting you from the side here of the wall. Pre-fires into it are very common. Oh, Hicks, the double taps onto Doki. Eliminates the IQ before much could be done. And it saves the yokai drones for later in the round.
That was a nice play, just barely hitting that shot. But now we're going to get the identify onto him. That's going to make a little bit more pressure for him to not play on the stairs. Citizen, though, taking Alfama means those yokais again neutralized. Alfama should not be in a position to be getting fragged so early. So he's getting neutralized very easily. Saves, though. Nice kill there from Aces, and that's going to turn things around a little bit. I think that's worth it. Losing the yokais, but getting the kill on both the Ash and the IQ means a lot of the high-speed fragging is going to be slowed way down.
Yeah, your Spearhead has been shut down. And of course, with the Echo being lost, not at the end of the world. But Kendra looking outside of A, Nello close by, and Navi will try to reform here and try to grasp onto a plan. They at least have a Heart Breacher with a decent chunk of time to play with. And Citizen actually moves forward with the ITA, opening up more of the wall for his teammate to walk in as Nello finds Hicks.
That's an important kill because they have smokes left from Citizen, and now the counter smoke is gone as well as the yokai. So it's going to be down to maybe even goo mines just to slow them down at this point, as well as a C4 from Aces and maybe some impact nades from Rise. Nope, and then he brought a deployable shield.
Oh.
So it's all down to really Aces to do any kind of plant denial outside of just straight gunfights.
They'll enter through Hookah here as Aces is just going to slowly move in. Peeks around the outside, but there's nobody in there, and he makes sure he doesn't hold down his sprint button. Well, actually, he goes back to it, and now it just makes a lot of noise up in the pool. His opponent's close to him. Oh, no. They're so close! Aces turns around. No! There's already Citizen watching for him. Rise finds Kendrew. Their fuser's been dropped outside.
15 seconds left.
Attackers have to go and recover. I'm not sure if LSC even know about this. They'll find one kill here. Rise. Citizen will dive on down. 70 HP left for him. Corey will pre-fire into the wall. The Jackal dropping in close, and Citizen taking the fire. Still alive as he finds one kill on a Corey. Pre-firing in the back and no time left. LFO will win off of time as the Legion does it right. Stands right behind the bar.
That was definitely unfortunate for Navi because they actually had a pretty good setup there in terms of denying a lot of the plant denial. They were set up with the smokes. They just didn't go for plant at that point. They were still focused too much on the upstairs, too much on trying to hold that position because they figured, okay, we've got to hold Hookah to be able to go for a plant, but they didn't have enough manpower left to really start setting up the plant. And then it certainly didn't help that you had Aces upstairs distracting them, opening up windows. They just did not feel comfortable enough, and they spent so much that last 30 seconds just kind of hanging out, trying to figure out how they wanted to approach it. So getting those early picks onto the IQ and the Ash, I think, made a huge difference there in terms of, like we said, slowing them down. And that's what you got to do as a defender, right? They're going to try that again in terms of slowing them down, this time with Corey on a little bit of a different roam operator. He's going to be on the Alibi instead of the Jaeger. And we're going to see a Nomad to try and help control those late flanks, because late flanks have been what LFO's been trying to do a lot towards the end of the round, whether the plant be down or not. So bringing either the Gridlock or the Nomad makes a lot of sense. We'll see what Saves is able to do with that. But it is now going to be the third bomb site here. Kitchen, they still, again, could go back to Hookah, but I have a feeling they're saving that for if they win Kitchen here.
10 seconds left.
It doesn't always, this is kind of a 50-50 site, so it doesn't really grant you the biggest percentage in win rate, but if only we had stuff for like specific teams and what they do on
We'll get there.
one day.
One day.
Are we great numbers?
Eventually we'll have too many numbers, and we won't even be able to make sense of half of them.
I mean, we already make no sense, Stefan. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but we don't blame the numbers for it yet.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
It's gone crazy.
Saves by the Lamborghini doorway now. Not going to find anyone here early on. Of course, you're setting up mostly for your Nomad later on in the round. Taking control of... No, actually, we'll dive away. So
You have to take control of Penthouse. They're going to have to do this eventually, but it looks like they're just taking a different approach to it. Going to open up the hatch instead with the ITA. So, I mean, that seems like the smart approach. Take it a bit more top-down. Do some droning of it. See if you can catch any footprints of anyone from any angles from the hatch, if you can beforehand. Try and catch some roamers. I mean, at the very least, try and maybe even open up a bit of the bathroom wall to spy into Hall of Fame. Just take full advantage of your ability to see if roamers might be around, because there certainly is. Aces and Corey maybe both playing around there. I saw Corey's hologram. But now, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Citizen now catching Ace's footprint puts a ton of pressure on him. He does have the yokai to help. As you mentioned, the way that Alfama usually uses those to support, but it's actually Hicks on the Echo this time, interestingly, and Alfama instead going to be on a different camera position on his Evil Eyes instead.
Yeah, it really depends. Sometimes you don't really have the best of play days, so it's okay in both Hicks
It's good.
and Alfama kind of switch around.
Yeah, and he just wasn't doing great on the Echo the first 2 rounds, so hey, make an audible. And Aces, though, still a bit hurt, but he manages to get away unscathed, and they've burned a minute and a half, so good on him, because that's a C4 preserved potentially for round ender.
It was used, actually.
Oh, no.
It did not hit. I think he threw it into the bathroom trying to hit someone, but it was lost, really, in the engagement. So he ends up... Oh, no. Firing... Oh, Hicks, how is he still alive? Oh, my God. Count your lucky stars, my man. This is just...
Yeah.
Okay.
You ban Buck all day long, but people can just ITA the floor as well.
Got ITA, you got a lot of breaching charges. The change of breaching charges and even stunning players below them has definitely been paying off pretty well. A lot of teams have been switching around to it. And here, sure, we haven't been seeing Zofia in play yet, at least in the first 3 rounds. But even Thatchers have been running a lot of breaching charges recently to combo with an IQ, and that's exactly what we have here. Aces now is back downstairs in the entry. Saves will find the kill on Hicks. It's later in the round.
Track too.
Huge fill now on the Echo as we get closer to the end of the round. This is exactly when you'd like to have those yokais in play. Alfama boosted up to go for some fire as Corey will dive on in through the smoke. Aces finds one, and Jackal actually on that double kill for Corey. They're both right next to him here. The entryway. Doki will come in from behind as Nello will find 1 kill. Corey on the floor with a triple kill, but Nello with the refrag. Is there any time left? No, there is not. And LFO again. We'll take another round. Mistimed for Na'Vi.
That was such a phenomenal play by Corey. Just saying, you know what? Bring the smoke. I'm going to push on into it, because you know what you're going to be doing? Just busy planting and focused on the long angles. So he snuck in. I mean, yeah, he could have just easily gotten killed had it not worked out in his favor, but you know what? They had enough manpower left to make a ballsy play like that, and it absolutely paid off, getting a triple kill there before dying. But the important part wasn't even the number of kills. It was that he denied the defuse planter and the person that would have picked it up to try and resume it had they got the kill into Corey. So getting the kill onto him first and then the defuse planter, perfectly played.
And you know how it worked so well? There was an Evil Eye right above Jackal, spotted everything. So he moved in, he fired into the guy that was prone on the desk first, and then turned around to the player planting, because either way, you're either getting killed one of the players that's required to protect the diffuser, or the other one that's going for it, and he'll have to get off of the plant, which will grant you more time to fight against it. And this is 101 for smoke. Never smoke yourself, always smoke deep into your opponents. And it wasn't deep enough, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, though, they're going to keep those Evil Eyes, but they're going to just drop the yokais altogether. Just not seeing a whole lot of value out of Echo. It's fair enough. They make that assessment. Instead, decide Alfama's Black Eyes will actually be a little bit more useful, because that's 2 sets of eyes, the black and the evil. That'll be doing a lot of work, just spotting things around without having to spend all of your time kind of maneuvering them. And maybe that's the smarter approach. Alfama can play a little bit more flexible, while they'll still have the passive intel from anyone who dies on LFO. They can sit there and rotate the cameras and watch those. Na'Vi, again, bringing the same lineup here. It worked fairly well, but just unfortunately they weren't able to successfully get the plant down, mostly because of Corey's play. And that's where the air jobs maybe might have been a little bit more useful had they had the air jobs into the smoke, for example. Corey couldn't have made that play happen, but, you know, hindsight's 20/20. But they are definitely going to be thinking about maybe we need to do a better job guarding the plants with those air jabs and not use them all so early this time. Oh, this is so aggressive. Citizen.
Oh, he fires into him and Rise falls. Oh no, having the smoke being lost up close so early in the round.
Yeah, a lot of damage done to Citizen, but that's certainly not worth it. That is not the person you want to be losing this early into the round.
No, I'm really not sure why Rise was in that position and not Aces. And there, yeah, that's what happened before. The drone hole got used to shoot through people. It wasn't great.
Those positions are important. You can never forget about those drone holes. Aces is taking a bit of damage, but he's going to have to continue to play a little bit more aggressive roam like he's doing with Corey, because it seems to be a decent pairing. But the Jackal still being alive means one of them is likely to get tracked here, maybe even Alfama.
Actually, was Aces juggling disruptor downstairs to block the top for Habana.
Oh, that's clever.
I'm not sure if he was, but I saw him putting something down, so maybe we'll have to explore that later on. But Aces is ready for a run out at this point in time, just awaiting information by the lobby, and there's nobody out there, so there's no reason for him to do so. He can definitely sneak up behind Na'Vi. You see Kendra already opening things up in the back, pushing Alfama away from his position. There's a hole already opened up, and Aces fire a couple rounds downstairs and give away his position. Oh, firing right in! Corey will find it. Nello eliminated, and Doki just at least trading off one. Hicks with another one. On to Doki to turn it to 3v3, and of course the important part, the diffuser's on the floor. Nitro Self from Aces will connect. And Citizen on the ingress. Is not able to stay alive. A second one as well for Corey. And saves, and all alone is Kendrew on the Habana, and he's spotted at the top. Ace is going to fire into the floorboards, and Diffuser's going to get picked up. Nitro Cell thrown right into Kendrew. Aces will connect from below, and that's the end of the round. LFO in complete control for this one. I think it just took them a few rounds to find their groove.
Well, what I think that they did that round that was very smart is they realized Na'Vi have been going for plant. They've been playing very, very objective-focused every round and getting the plant down, or nearly getting the plant down most rounds. So LFO said, well, they're not focused on the roamers. They use the Jackal to try and control the roamer, but the Jackal wasn't really finding a lot other than Alfama behind the bar anyways. Let's just play to the fact that they're going to move into position. We're going to give them those positions, right? We're going to let them into Aqua. We're going to let them play as aggressive as they want to, but then we're going to hit them from below. You saw them get the diffuser kill, the C4. They just completely played right into the trap that LFO set for them, and they played just full roam as much as they wanted to, because Citizen was focused on taking the upstairs. He wasn't catching the footprints of the roamers.
No.
He wasn't roam hunting like he really probably should have been, and just their lack of focus on roamers, LFO absolutely just capitalizing on that. And if Na'Vi don't change, I could see LFO continuing to capitalize on that for the next 2 rounds.
4 rounds, if they can achieve it here for LFO. 4 rounds on defense on Coastline is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So now there's completely shift in the plays. Now, understanding this is because you saw how Na'Vi were trying to attack the double bars. They took control of Hookah, and then from there try to fare themselves down. So it makes sense to grab the pulse, not only to secure your flanks,
To play upwards.
but to play upwards, indeed. Now it's the choice, up to LFO. Where do we want to position our pulse? And do we want to have Alfama on the Echo supporting him? Which is, again, something that LFO excels at more than any other team.
Hicks already took a bullet or 2 of damage somehow. Hopefully he wasn't playing that Aqua door again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. Maybe there was an impact grenade somewhere going off near him.
Possibly. It looks like he might have just been trading shots through here, as Doki's already aggressively up to this door, trying to push his way into Hookah if he can. At least trying to get a feel for how they're defending this. He knows they're playing Cool Vibes at least, and that is where he loses the drone to. But there's no hole open to Cool Vibes, so he's not sure exactly how to fight this at the moment. But he is able at least to creep in because of that lack hole, and Hicks might overplay his hand here because they know he's going to be playing down here. It's just a question of not whether he can get away with this. Oh, there we go. This
Run away!
You don't really need. You didn't really need to use the gadget to spot the yokai at that point, but that is one yokai down. At least Alfama, though, trying to help Hicks stay alive a little bit longer, as you said, trying to help support the roam. That is going to stall things out, but Doki taking control quickly, and that's what the pulse was for right there, to take down Citizen. Now Roamer's a little bit more free.
And that was Nitro Cell from the pulse himself, so at least now all he'll be doing is mostly giving information away to his teammates. Now, there should be another set of nitros on, or at least one bit of nitro on Aces, and he is very close up to Corey. They're going to use him to snipe out anybody downstairs, or upstairs, excuse me. Having him alive is going to be very important for later in the round.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to push back towards...
There we go! Ba-bam!
All right. And that is the IQ down, so the other yokai probably safe now at this point, assuming it doesn't do anything silly. But now it's going to be the air jabs are going to be the big utility to watch out for at this point. But the man advantage means even an air jab or 2 is probably not going to be hugely impactful here.
Here's the air jab right next to him, right before it arms. Alfama taking no damage from it. Of course, doing nothing to him as we speak. Nello will take damage on the ingress from the smoke, but Alfama will finish him off. So Rise with another on the Kendrew, leaving only saves alive on the Nomad. Yeah, I'm not sure. You can ride in on a camel, on a horse, or even on an elephant, and you will still end up dying too. That's a flawless round by this team. I don't even know if that was team damage done early on, so it's possible the only damage done to them was like from that.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing for Na'Vi, but it was again what I was saying last round. They completely played into that. Na'Vi is so focused on let's take Hookah and just fight down onto Bar. Completely played against them again. You saw Hicks delaying for as long as possible. You had Alfama helping to decoy with the yokai drone, and then on top of that, you had the Pulse helping to get 2 C4 kills from below there to make sure that stayed. So it was like, you could take Hookah all day long, but we're the ones who are going to smoke you guys right now, just trying to stay up there. The playing objective is just not working out for Na'Vi. They need to go roam hunting at this point. They need to start taking sections of the map, coming from the opposite side, hunt down the roamers, which oddly enough, they're going to go without the Jackal this time. Just section off the roamers. Kill Corey early. That was the one round you won. Was the round where you killed Corey early. Just do things like that where you can control them as much as possible, get the maximum use out of those air jabs, maybe even bring a Gridlock and a Nomad at this point. Unfortunately, this is last round for attack for them, so they can't, but that would be the play, is to just really cut them off at this point and stop them from being able to play away from that. But playing downstairs seems to be working out better for them than upstairs, but they still managed to defend Hookah that last time. So they're going to try again down in downstairs here in Kitchen, which I imagine the way they're playing there probably will win. And this might go over to a 5-1, but we'll see if Na'Vi have learned their lesson. I mean, the change up to bring Citizen on the sledge is an interesting choice, but that just makes me think they're going to play even more downward pressure, and that's not what worked out for them last round.
Now, Na'Vi, at least so far, not wasting any time getting up to the building and droning in for themselves. Doki, however, will find a rise close up to him here in the yellow bar. Alfama watching for any extra drones as well. Limit Na'Vi's drone play and information gathering. That's the goal so far for LFO, and it makes a lot of sense. The saves going down. Corey on the entry against Nomad. It should be easy breezy walk around here for the roam play. Corey only takes 25 damage in the engagement.
That was the kill he needed to make for himself, and then Hicks with an odd spot there, just holding an interesting angle on the doorway. No one would expect that.
Oh, aces from above. Goes to the DJ booth and finds one. Man, he's really been hitting those notes today. Nello and Doki, last two alive, and LFO are just completely controlling the vibe of this game as Doki finally find one kill on the rise. Something Na'Vi are very desperate for as an opener.
That almost feels like an impactless kill, just with how things are playing out so far. I don't see them making a ton of progress from this here. I mean, at least they still have some utility, but nothing that's really going to help them get a plant down.
And look at how many drones have been lost so far in the round.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything is lost in terms of information gathering for Na'Vi.
It's just frag out at this point if you're lucky.
Exactly, and you try to fire in from the doorway, but Doki only takes a bit of damage. It's a big problem. You can't really tell where your opponents are. Drones is such a huge part of it. Even not having Mozzie in play, that might actually come back and really, really help.
Yeah.
LFO
are also playing smart angles.
Very true.
Although Ace is not on the smartest one that time.
Falls down, but Corey is still holding on to the lobby. Nobody moving in just yet as Doki actually will go into security, scouting around, unsure where the alibi is. And Thatcher is very close up to them, and Hicks is giving information. Perfect play here, hiding behind his reinforced wall and just shouting out commands at his teammates. But Doki's not been spotted. He moves in close. Is he going to destroy the camera? No, he still crouches very close to Corey. 2 times lockdown onto Corey as Nello turns around. Unfortunately, that was the wrong time for it. Information again being relayed to Alfama. And Hicks is down on the floor. Still 15 seconds left. Doki and Nello have to recover the diffuser. It's still not in their hands. They'll have to go in for frags probably at this point. Doki will run all the way back to try and find it, but Alfama has gotten 1 kill on Nello. Doki finally has it in his hands, but he drops the Maestro. Hicks will try to play for time, and indeed, he'll be successful. The IQ unsure of where he was, and playing hide and seek inside of the stock. LFO will grab yet another round.
Fantastic play at the end there by Na'Vi, really trying to play whatever they could, playing together with teamwork. You saw them trying to pinch Corey, for example, just doing the best that they possibly could with such low information. I got to say that was a pretty valiant attempt, considering you had so much information left for LFO. They had the pulse heartbeat sensor, they had the evil eyes and things like that to be able to call things out. It's just, that's not an ideal position to be in, and at least they kept their cool and tried to play it out, but smart play at the end there, just hiding around the corner, not giving up that last frag. We'll see how things go on the attack, though, for LFO. See if Na'Vi can pick things up on their defense. They're going to start on Hookah, same as LFO. Oh, nope, they switched it over to Kitchen. All right.
Yeah, so that's the starting site here for Na'Vi. Of course, they really need to deny LFO's 6 points on the board. That'll at least guarantee 1 point for LFO in Pro League. And even if today we see Empire victorious, they would still tie with LFO.
Yeah, they're looking to really hold their spot pretty heavily here. And you see why. They're definitely justifying it in this match so far. I mean, again, things could switch with the side switch, and Na'Vi could come way back, and this could be a pretty defensive-sided match, but LFO have been looking pretty on top of it. They're playing definitely a different attacker lineup as well. Instead of the Jackal, they're going to be bringing a Capitao and a Zofia along with the Ashe. So they're going to be playing a little bit aggressive as well as having some extra utility to go for the plant, but that means Hicks needs to play smart if he wants to set up the smokes for the plant, because no one else going to be bringing any smokes here. So it's all on him. You know, they had the Jackal for that on Na'Vi, so both teams having some smoke utility for a plant, which is essential in a lot of bomb sites here on this map, so no surprise there. Corey, though, going to be going for the typical entry frag he does, and pretty good on Zofia, so this makes a lot of sense.
It works out pretty well. And again, Zofia, as you mentioned in the pre-show, has kind of been taking over for Ashe, but a lot of teams, including LFO, are starting to bring both Ashe and the Zofia together, just especially in a map like this where you don't really need to worry about hard destruction that much. You can just bring the Habana and be safe with that, and just give Aces an Ashe and watch them run around the map and do whatever you want.
I feel like this map is definitely one that offers a lot more flexibility in terms of attacker lineup, specifically because it doesn't require hard breacher.
Exactly.
So definitely, yeah, that's why we see a little bit different lineup. But they don't really have anything for roam hunting. So the Lion is banned. They didn't bring a Dokkaebi. They don't have a Jackal. So they're really, I got to wonder, are they going to play the same way Na'Vi did and just go straight for plant attempt and not try and control the roamers? That's going to be something that could really come back to bite them as it did Na'Vi. But we see them also playing very slow and instead maybe just looking to actually get some of that map control with their drones. But they also don't have a Gridlock or Nomad either to be able to lock down these areas they do control. So I don't know, this slow play from LFO could really backfire on them if they can't start to make some picks soon.
Yeah, it seems like a completely different way of playing it if you compare it to Na'Vi. Mostly drone in and make sure that you can get a frag off of it. So you're not really worrying about having Gridlock or Nomad when that's your game plan. But as you said, because they've been taking so long with no opener, that's going to weigh really heavily on
later. Your map control isn't guaranteed if it's 5 versus 5 still. You're going to lose some of that when you focus on execute, but there goes Nello at least. That's the smoke, so that is one of the denials of the diffuser already down. But 45 seconds left, that's a little late to get that kill.
It's a good timing, though, to start getting onto the site, and actually Aces is already on it. He's down on the floor, but as he goes up, he'll get shot, and let's Rise with one on the Citizen. At least a quick refrag, something that LFO have been so strong at doing in this matchup so far. And Corey with another one onto saves. Rise spotting one right behind the doorway as he walks away. That's the AUG in hands, really shutting down a lot of your POV. Turns around and finds the Valkyrie. Greatly played here by Rise, but it's a 3v1. Kendrick on his own. He can stop things right here. No, Rise turns around the AUG. And the IQ will save it. 6 rounds for the team. Six LFO. 6 in a row, as you say. And that's...
The one round they lost was kind of their warm-up, it seems.
Like, yeah, you know what? Let's just play it differently.
What was interesting to see, though, was to see LFO make a lot of adjustments during the rounds. It's just unfortunate for Na'Vi. They don't have a lot of runway left to really make any adjustments because this is probably the way things have been going their last round unless they make a serious adjustment here. To be fair, though, that things were looking good for Na'Vi that round because of how late LFO were in getting in really towards site, getting any picks. I mean, even when Aces got in, he got picked right after in the trade. So it was going very much in Navi's favor, but then Rise just kind of came in and started doing some damage, and they just started losing way too many players.
What boggles my mind is how the Ashe was allowed to just enter and catch people on the cross. It definitely should not be happening.
Well, so long was spent without nothing happening. You start to kind of like get a little bit out of position as a defender at that point.
I think LFO are just, they've gotten that good at finding those openings, but I'm really curious because a team like Na'Vi might not have the same experience as LFO has, but they definitely have been proving themselves so far in Pro League and in our minors. So yeah, I'm really curious as to how LFO are able to kind of pinpoint these specific moments to strike.
Well, we're seeing another adjustment for them, too, in that they're bringing the Dokkaebi, and that's smart because one thing that they struggled with that last round so much was just finding someone early to be able to get the kill. I mean, yeah, Aces did get the opening frag, but it took him so long. He says, you know what? Let's bring something that will get a kill on a roamer earlier on so we can start getting picks.
Aces on Dokkaebi. This is like, Aces and Red Groove are definitely like the two best players you want to have on Dokkaebi.
This is an early kill to come out, or a call to come out, but if the rest of the players are in positions to capitalize on it, this could lead to the first opening kill already in the first 30 seconds. Nope.
Bit of damage done here to IQ, and Aces perfectly timed. Turns around, finds Citizen a pre-fire as well into the bathroom, but no damage done. He's at 75 at range, kind of gets very difficult to control. It's a bit unwieldy. So he goes around and keeps spraying into the bathroom. See, Doki just falling back, and Doki finds the kill. He's had enough, but Rise take him off the map.
Important thing, though, is the first minute, and they've got 2 kills, and one of them's onto the Maestro, and the other one's onto the C4 carrying Valkyrie. That's some good opening. It's unfortunate that Aces wasn't able to hack the phone. That was dropped by Citizen, just because, well, he got in the fight with Doki instead, but... Because, I mean, that would have been nice to get some control of those evil eyes to be able to see them, but either way, this is still a big advantage here for LFO because they've got one man up and so much time left to play with.
So now Hicks is unsure if there's anybody behind the bar, and he actually can tag the players that are behind the wall. Goes through the barbed wire as rises downstairs, and well-oiled machine here as LFO go through all the utility that was pre-placed. You see the difference. Na'Vi went for control in Aqua first, then played everything around the map, then came back to Aqua. LFO clear everything else, and then go to Aqua.
Yeah, the exact opposite of what Na'Vi were doing. That wasn't really working. So LFO just definitely being smarter about it. And that's something that Na'Vi could learn from here, being newer to Pro League. This is some valuable experience, even if it's not really a win. Obviously, it can't be a win for them now.
Clear the bottom and then go up top. That's what you do. You're not going to attack a bottom floor site without clearing the top first, right? So it's that list, the checklist of priorities that a lot of us have been talking about recently, and you can see it right in front of you as it's happening. Nick's preparing for an assault, but it might just be a bait here as Kendra is very low on HP as well.
I like that bait out with the smoke. Hopefully he has another one still left, but the fact that he did that is going to focus a lot of their attention, give the chance for Corey to reposition for a flank here, as Saves gets pressured as well, but now they're not sure when the actual plant attempt's going to come down, but Rise actually getting dropped outside. It's working out, and there we go. Na'Vi just collapses.
Whoa!
I guess the fake out just ended up working against them here. They had to go for the real thing sooner or later, and they were not prepared for that creep up.
What just happened?
Na'Vi finally found an opening, and just playing a little bit more passive there, waiting for it, absolutely paid off, and a little bit of aggression as well, creeping up to the bomb itself and just hiding on the other side of it. Well played. And so far, Hookah has been the weaker site for some teams, and was also a bit of a struggle there for Na'Vi, but they managed to pull it off, so we'll see how they can do on bar. Now this will be their 3rd bomb site. I almost wonder if they might be better off going back to kitchen, because at least they know how the attack comes down on it from LFO. And they were somewhat successful on that. Like, I feel like they did pretty good in terms of delaying for a long time, not getting picked early, having or holding at least site area pretty effectively. But instead to just go over to bar, it just seems risky when you're on match point still, and you just barely clawed back that last round. We are going to see Echo getting played again here. I mean, it's rare to not have him banned, and because Mozzie was banned instead, gives some flexibility here to be able to play that. Didn't work out all that well necessarily for LFO, but they tried it, had a few different people play it. Aces, Rise, and Corey, all there creeping up towards the double digits. Nello, the one actually on Na'Vi. Not usually their heavy fragger. He's the one picking up the slack. And maybe that is an indicator of why Na'Vi is not doing so great overall, is that their top fraggers are not top fragging right now.
5 seconds
It's not like LFO have really been giving them any breathing space, right? And bringing the Dokkaebi in the previous round was definitely a way to try and shut down Na'Vi before they could really get started. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because even though you got 2 kills, it ended up in a pretty disappointing way for LFO, to say the least.
What's interesting, though, is instead of switching to like back to Ash or something, he takes the Zofia from Corey, which Corey's been doing fine on, gives Corey the sledge, and then Corey just loses half his health.
Yeah, he got fired upon from above. I'm sure it was just a dive from... Yeah, there we go. That's the main staircase. It happens. This is just early peaks. Sometimes it's difficult to respond to them, but at least he's still alive. The grenades are safe and sound. What I'm really interested in is Kendra running the Echo. I'm very curious as to how he'll be playing the Echo. Is he going to be running it close to his teammates? Is it going to be mostly on the site? Will it survive the IQ? Because on LFO's side, their IQ, well, Navi's IQ is really great at dealing with yokai drones and eliminating them before they could be too much of a nuisance for Na'Vi on their assault.
I mean, that should be your highest priority. Oh, Rise almost shooting the drone there. But I mean, that should be your highest priority as an IQ because there is a good chance you might not live till the end of the round, and end of the round is when the yokais matter the most. So you definitely want to prioritize taking those out. But you did see him taking out ADSs and things like that. He might also, spot some goo mines to take out, things like that. Just incidental gadget damage. Nice spot by Ace is actually not getting his drone caught. So he is going to have a little bit of drop on him. And actually you see them opening up an angle for that.
Ace is just stunning the player down in the kitchen, but there's no follow-up on top of it. And as we've seen in the previous round, LFO control the top floor on the bottom side attack.
Well, Ace is definitely making good use of his breach charges here. Corey also destroying a lot of the floor with his hammer, so it's definitely raining death from above. But the fact that they're not finding any kills here kind of reminds me a little bit of that first round on Kitchen when they're struggling to get some kills. And then, well, finally Hicks gets one onto Doki. So that's a good at least start 1 C4 off the board.
And Nello has a shotgun pointed right at that doorway, and Rise will dive on in. He's already back, and the Habana will open up an extra hole. Rise is spotting around to make sure there's no yokais here, and there's one inside of the site. But Nello might be forced away. Smoke will be shot out. Corey will find the kill on saves, eliminating the Jaeger, and on the cross. No, there's 25 seconds left. The shotgun is going to be so powerful, but Nello gets felled by Rise. A huge kill, but Kendra on the refrag. He goes up to the top floor, and Citizen on the rotation close to the blue bar. Fuser is going to get planted. You see one spotted from back, but Kendra dives in from behind. He finds 2 kills. Now it's up to Aces on the play. Citizen gets taken away, and left on his own is the Echo. He's still on the floor. He finds the kill, but Aces on the refrag. Kendra to go down, and LFO secure round number 9 and the victory, as well as 3 points. That was stylish play from the Echo, but you saw LFO diving in with 2 players at the end.
Yeah.
Make sure that they get that kill.
And that was just that thoroughness and making sure that they did a lot of map clearing before they actually went for the site, and then they knew exactly what they were going to be dealing with on site. But it did get very messy. Their inability to keep control because they got so few frags before pushing the site towards the end. That was Navi's biggest strength, was just keeping people alive as long as possible. But because they also weren't getting a ton of picks on LFO often were able to just pull it back by winning gunfights towards the end and knowing a lot better where the attacks could be coming from because of clearing out a lot of the map ahead of time, having some of that early map control. Yes, they lose it eventually. You see, like, for example, the Echo capitalizing on that with the rotate. But by the time they're executing on that, they still also had enough people left alive themselves to be able to trade those out. And you saw, for example, the IQ come in to get a trade out, and then ironically, that same window used by Kendrick to rotate around. Yeah. But either way, it was well played by LFO. But Na'Vi, I feel like the scoreline doesn't reflect how close some of those rounds came to them actually being able to pull it back. And I feel like it actually should have gotten to maybe more of a 7-4 kind of situation. But at the end of the day, you just couldn't close out the rounds, and LFO showing why they're just dominating the season so far.
Yeah, and it works very well for them. I mean, LFO at this point remain undefeated. So they take up 5 victories in 5 play days. Now next week they get to play against one team that can be very much considered a big rival for them, G2, and then in the final play day they'll play against Empire. So it's at least very good for you as an LFO fan to look at this and see, well, their first 4 matches, they get all 3 points, and then they face the 2 big boys in the league, historically speaking. it works out very well for LFO. But we have an interview ready for you, so let's have a quick chat with LFO. Bonsoir,
Hello.
Capel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I haven't seen you in like a week. It's been a while.
Oh, less than a week. You said
Less
shut
than
in
a week.
Valencia, man.
Yeah, that's very true. How was it actually returning back? And of course now it's the LFO life, I guess, right?
Well, it went pretty well. We still feel disappointed we didn't get the win against Rogue in the finals, but overall we did a good tournament, especially considering how poorly we played in the first few games. And we get our 5th win in the regular season, so all good.
It's pretty darn good against Na'Vi. A lot of people look at your matchup against Na'Vi at DreamHack and think it pretty much put it up there as one of the best games of 2019 so far. This matchup, as Devin was saying, was very close in some of the rounds, but it got really, really tight on your defensive side. And Alfama usually is the player that runs the yokai drones close to his teammates, but it's being shut down constantly. Was there a reason really for it, or was it not really planned against Doki's IQ?
So it's hard to say because I only have the streams POVs. So I only have the comms when we do official games. I think he tried to play them maybe a little bit too aggressive. And he got shut down by Doki. He was using his IQ gadget very well, obviously. So that was I can't tell much more than that because I couldn't see his POV.
Was that a motivation for Corey to switch over to a pulse and completely change the way that the round was being played for you on the defense?
Not really. We like to run pulse on Coast because you have a lot of C4 facilities. Like we saw today, we got a bunch of C4 kills. You can give very reliable and easy infos and deny plans and deny zones just by being below, and it puts a lot of pressure on the attackers just knowing the fact that there's a pulse down there that can kill you from below.
And there, on your attacking side, it was very clear for us watching it from here that you're doing the reverse of Na'Vi. What they were doing is taking control of the entryway into a site first, and then clearing out the rest, and then going back to attacking the site itself. Whereas on your attack, you always cleared out the bottom floor or the top one, whichever is the opposite to the site that you're attacking. Is this usually how you do it, or is this specific to Coastline and Na'Vi themselves?
So on Coast, I think it's in my opinion, is the best way to do it, because you can get very easily some zones in control. Then when you have those, the others just fall into your hands, because it's just about getting those duels, getting those frags. And as you move forward, you can very easily keep the control of and lock the stairs so that they cannot go back up, and just keep going forward and pushing forward from there. Whereas directly fronting is, in my opinion, a lot harder on Coastline than other maps.
All right. Well, that said, again, congratulations on your matchup. Anything you'd like to say to the fans out there for LFO and any potential investors out there?
Well, thank you very much for the LFO fans. Every week is getting bigger and bigger. It's really heartwarming for us, and it makes us really motivated to get the best work possible so that you guys can keep supporting us and be proud of who you're supporting. And to any investors, just look at the numbers, man.
They don't lie. It's all the numbers that are out there. A team that was able to make it to 2 grand finals and 2 events back-to-back. That's pretty impressive. Top 1 in EU, making it to Pro League finals. And that's a pretty decent pedigree for the past few months, if you ask me. That said, Capel, again, congratulations on your victory here against Na'Vi. We'll see you on Monday, actually, for a very, very big game against the big rivals of G2. Good night.
Yep. Good night.